outside of the church here up against the wall. The bomb goes off at 10:22. It shatters that set of windows, in the back. It does major damage to the window of Christ there. It blows the face out of that window of Christ. It puts a hole about elbow high on the left arm. You see that black line through the red cloak? Mm-hmm. That was a gigantic hole there. Where the feet are, there was a gigantic hole there. That window was repaired. The rest of these windows were replaced. Okay. There was a person in Wales, in the United Kingdom. His name was John Pitts. He saw the damage that was done to our windows. And he was a person who worked on stained glass. So he came to Birmingham on his own. Nobody called him. Nobody said, we need help from an expert on repairing and replacing stained glass windows. He shows up. I think we know who sent him. Okay? And he says, I'm John Pitts. I work on stained glass windows, and I came to help. And he did that. He helped replace those windows back there, and helped repair that window. He goes back to Wales, and he decides that he would design a window for the church. And he designed this window that's in the balcony. So he designed that window, and he said he wanted to have design a window that was reflective of the suffering of black people against segregation and discrimination. And you can interpret that window a lot of ways. Well, when I look at that, I see the right hand pushing out against segregation and discrimination. I see the left hand open to reconciliation and forgiveness. And I look on the left side of that window, second panel from the bottom, I see the word you. Y-O-U. Underneath the U, the bottom panel says do, D-O. Bottom center says it, I-T. On the right side, second panel up, it says to, T-O. Underneath the to, the bottom panel says me, M-E. You do it to me. Now, that's a scripture from the Bible, from the 25th chapter of Matthew, 40th verse, that says, if you do it to the least of these, you do it unto me. John Pitts designed that window. The church is bombed in September 1563. That window is installed in June of 65. Okay? So that's a little bit about that. And some other things of significance here is these pews. These pews were put in here when the church was completed in 1911. These same wooden oak pews. They didn't have any cushions on the pews at the time. It was just a wooden oak. And there was no carpet on the floor. There was just wooden floor here. So the carpet was added and the pews were covered in 1990. Okay. We renovated the pulpit area at the same time in 1990. There was no steps. Those steps were added in 1990. There were 2 more rows of pews here. And when those steps were added, we took those 2 rows of pews up here out. Yes, sir.
I was going to say, do they still have church in here?
Every Sunday, including tomorrow. 10:45. 10:45. And we're out by 12 o'clock, and all of you are certainly invited. Yes, sir. So the renovations in 1990 was adding the steps to the pews, adding the carpet to the floor, covering the pews with carpet and with the cushions on the pews. That was the major thing in 1990. The pipe organ This is the keyboard here for the pipe organ. You play the keyboard there, the sound comes out up there. And the pipe organ was put in 1919. It functions with a lot of assistance from the mechanics, the pipe organ mechanics from Atlanta. They come over, tune it up, and keep it going. So that's what they do for us in the pipe organ. We are a Baptist church, and in the Baptist church, those who join get baptized. Our baptismal pool is in the floor behind the pulpit. You see that cutout area? Mm-hmm. In the floor behind the pulpit is a pool, about a 10-foot long pool that's about 5 feet deep. So that's where we baptize our parishioners when they join the church. The pulpit is on rollers, and you simply roll it to the side and you put it over there by the pipe organ keyboard. That's how that works. And all of the members sitting here at the church can see the pastor and the deacons as they are baptizing the people. Any other questions?
Is that the original pulpit?
I don't think so. I don't think so.
You know when it was King preaching from that? Or has that replaced since then?
I think the pulpit, the old pulpit, it was in downstairs where you saw the eulogy. Or did you sit in the eulogy?
I'll look when I go down.
Okay, it was down there at one point, but I don't think it's there now.
Oh,
but this is a newer pulpit.
I had a question about with the bombing, and then the funeral was held here. Was the funeral held here?
Let me get closer, ma'am.
Oh. I can talk louder.
Okay.
I was asking if the funeral for the 4 girls was held here.
Oh, okay, no.
Okay.
No, the funeral was not here. It looked like it
Yeah,
from the
it did.
video downstairs.
Right.
But it was at another location, at another church.
Okay.
And that church was 6th Avenue Baptist Church that was in that video that you saw.
Okay.
And that was on the south side of town.
Okay.
Because this was damaged. So.
Right, because this church was damaged. That
Yeah.
funeral was on the 18th of September.
Right.
The church is bombed on the 15th of September.
Yeah. In the video, I thought it was here, so I was like, how did
No, it looked like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so on the 15th, on the 18th of September, our church is damaged. Those windows are all blown out. There's a gigantic hole in the side of the church down where the kitchen is today. So that was the major thing.
Okay.
And we stayed, the repairs took a little over a year. And we came back to church here in October of 1963, 1964.
You said
Yes, sir.
that one of the bombers was incarcerated in 1977. That's a long time after 1963.
Where are you from, sir?
I'm from Atlanta, Georgia, but I don't sound like it.
You sure? You don't? You sure you stayed all the time in Atlanta, Georgia?
Most of the time,
Most of the time?
more than half my life.
Okay. You should have learned something over the half of your life in Atlanta to answer that question that you asked. I can't believe that. Well, anyway, I'm going to believe it. Okay?
It's a setup.
Now, it's a setup, but much of our nation's history, including maybe today, there was nothing that a white person did to a black person that a white person was held responsible for. You understand that? Okay, that kind of answers the question why the church was bombed in 63 and the first person was tried in 77. That's 14 years. But you haven't heard the rest of it. You know who Paul Harvey is?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
the rest of this.
Paul Harvey says, who knows who Paul Harvey is? Young people don't know who he is. Okay, Paul Harvey was a guy on the radio, and he used to tell a story, and he would say half of the story, and then he would say, Now, I'm about to tell you the rest of the story. Okay? So let me tell you very quickly the rest of the story. We're talking about the 14 years for Robert Chambliss from 63 to 77. The rest of the story is the second guy was tried in 2001.
Wow.
Okay? That's 38 years or something, if I'm right. The third guy was tried in 2002. That's 39 years. That's the rest of the story. And the other guy who came down here and planted the bomb died before he came to trial. Now that's the rest of the story. Okay? That's where we are. And you're from Atlanta. Okay. Good. Any other questions?
Because he's good at doing setups for you.
Okay, any other questions or comments?
Was there
I'm not
more with
picking
the
on
four
you.
guys?
Pardon
You
me?
said when we got up here, you were gonna say a little bit more about the four
Oh,
guys.
that was the four
the-
guys who came down and planted,
Yeah.
the bomb.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
It strikes me that we could say, if you were cynical enough, that George Floyd's death and the death of so many other young black men and women signals that maybe we haven't come as far as we thought we did. That if Mr. Chambliss and his friends, white friends, felt like they could walk around free for 20, 30, 40 years, and that so many young people die at the hands of state authorities, either in prisons or on police forces, that if you're cynical enough, you might wonder if things have changed as much as we had hoped. How do you feel, sir?
Well, I've been living, and you probably don't believe this, but I've been living in this skin for 80 years.
Wow. Congratulations.
Okay? Anybody want to see my driver's license?
You're looking good.
80 years and 5 months, actually. I'm born in December. And we have come a long way in our country, but we've got a long way to go.
Okay.
And until we start talking to each other and understanding where we're going and who we are still going to get stuck basically where we are. When we attack our capital of the United States, by the way, I spent 30 years in the Army. And every one of those 30 years, 5 months, and 18 days that I spent in the Army, in Germany, in Korea, and in Vietnam, I was defending my capital, defending my country. And then these people come and attack the capital. And a lot of other people agree with them. Now, what is this?
Insanity.
That's my point. Okay. Any other questions?
I think this was addressed on the panel downstairs, but why did this church become a target? This is kind of a, upper crust black church in the community. How does it become a target for this bombing?
You have to look at the history of what's going on at the time. You have to look at what's happening in 1963. Okay? In 1963, you have to look at what was happening at 16th Street Baptist Church that made it a target. Okay? Starting in April of 63. This is where the people that marched in the streets in May and June, this is where they assembled. Okay? They met here. And they marched from here. The children met here, marched to City Hall from here. they had the dog attacks and the water hoses in Lynn Park where they're having a festival today. Okay? That's where the dog attacks and water hoses occurred. And that was on the 1st and 2nd of May.
Take care of your family. Peace. If you don't know who you are, then somebody else can make you be who they want you to be. You gotta know who you are.
Okay? Then, Birmingham is on TV all over the world, and the city official says, we don't want to be on TV. We don't want the world to see what's happening with Birmingham. So let's meet with Dr. King and ask him to stop marching. This is the 1st of June. So the meeting was on the 21st of June when they met with Dr. King and had their agreement that Dr. King agreed that we're not going to march anymore if you meet the demands of this list. On that list was hired black policemen. I think I pointed out downstairs there wasn't no black policemen. Hired black policemen. The second thing was hire sales clerks in the department store, African American sales clerks in the department store. The third thing, and this is very important, was desegregate the schools. This is on the 21st of June. So the thing was, when school opens, they agreed, when school opens, we're going to desegregate the schools. So the 5th of September comes, the day school opens. Now, the church gets bombed on the 15th. The 5th of September, school opens, and schools get desegregated. How do they get desegregated? 2 black kids go to 1 high school. That's desegregation. Atlanta, you got that? Okay. And 5 black boys go to 1 elementary school. That's 7 kids in a population of about 40,000 students. 7 black kids. Now, the white community is doing the same thing the black community was doing. They're marching on City Hall because the schools are desegregated with 7 children. Okay? Now, they take the kids out of school, the 7 black kids out of school. And that's about the 8th or 9th of September. And what happens on the 15th? The church is bombed. So that's what happened.
In the meantime, about a little over 2 weeks before that, they told Randolph to put that March Washington thing together, had all these speeches on TV.
Exactly. That's a part of it. I didn't point, that was the 28th of August. Okay? So that's where we are. Hopefully we're moving forward. I would say we're doing pretty good. We're moving along. And when we look at where we are and our history from the standpoint of race relations, we had our first mayor, African American mayor, in 1979. Okay? We've had every one of our mayors since 1979 has been African American. Since 1991 or 92, every one of our police chiefs have been African American except one. And we got now our police chief is white, but we had one other white police chief. In 1979, we had 2 city council people who were African American. Now, today, we have 6 of the 9 city council people who sit on the city council are black. 6 of the 9, 3 white, because we have 3 white districts in the community. So that's the numbers when you start looking at numbers. It's about the same as Atlanta.
But Atlanta is also in Georgia, and Birmingham is also in Alabama.
What's the difference?
No, I'm saying that, yeah, I think Atlanta, we're very conscious in Atlanta that Atlanta is different from the rest of Georgia. And I suspect, just watching the news about Alabama, that, as you say, good things about Birmingham, you probably couldn't say quite as good things about the whole of Alabama sometimes, or not. Well, I don't follow Alabama that well, you tell me.
I understand what you're saying. That Atlanta, I understand exactly what you said. But I still say, what's the difference? Alabama had George Wallace. Georgia had Lester Manning. It's the same thing. What are we talking about?
Yeah, you got it.
Yep.
I got you.
You're talking to an 80-year-old guy who's been around a long time. Okay, so let's and who is a history teacher. So I know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And who spent 30 years in the Army, and who is an Army colonel. Now, what more do we want to talk about? Okay, y'all have a good day.
On a clear day, you can actually see the road down.
Someone tried telling me that was a sedan. It's a four-door